How's it going, everyone? I hope you're well. I'm up in the Peak District in Derbyshire. I've just been down a lead mine, mate. I'll go down them a fair bit. This one was a bit spicy, even for me, to be fair. Like, we got to this bit, like I'm crawling on my belly, like I'm literally covered in mud. Crawling on my belly, about 25 metres in. Suddenly, look at this. Oh, mate, this is not comfortable. Oh, mate, what is going off? Oh my goodness me. No thanks. Bit silly, really. Anyway, I'm going to stomp up now to try and find this old lime kiln that my mates, they've all gone home now, told me that there's a lime kiln up here, like a 17th century job, so I'm going to try and find that. Anyway, here's my question to you folks. Why does Sir Keir Starmer look so terrified all the time? I don't know if you've noticed that, because he's always looked like an owl, hasn't he? From one of those like Julia Donaldson stories. He's always looked like an owl from one of them. And he's always sounded like Zippy from Rainbow.
Hello, it's breakfast time. I'm really hungry.
Do you know what I mean? So that's nothing new. But the terrified bit, that's new. And it's only come along, I think anyway, since the whole Ukrainian sex worker, Ukrainian rent boy, male escort thing. Where, for those of you around the world that are maybe not aware, because there was a bit of a media blackout on it. 4 lads, all of them Ukrainian, all of them either a male escort or a male model or a sex worker or whatever, set fire to a bunch of Keir Starmer's stuff. And not like, you know, setting fire to like, you know, stuff that's in his public life, like Downing Street or Chequers or whatever, but stuff that you wouldn't know about. So like a car he used to own, and then like a couple of private dwellings that he owns, but you know, you wouldn't know about, unless you knew him. Now, what was the red flag for me with that is this total media blackout on it. Like they reported the, this guy's windy, they reported the fact that there was, you know, some, I think I might have found this lime kiln. I have. Yeah, there was a bit of a, you know, report on the fact that it happened, but no one asked the question, a real obvious question, which is, hi, Keir Starmer, Sir Prime Minister, did you know these men at all? It's a legitimate question, isn't it? And as I've made the point a few times, if it was like, I don't know, a minor celebrity, not the Prime Minister, but a minor celebrity, or an ex-footballer, someone like Paul Gascoigne, say, total legend, but ex-footballer. If 4 Ukrainian male escorts set fire to Paul Gascoigne's stuff, mate, it'd be front page news everywhere. Everyone would be asking, Paul, do you know these lads? Here we go, look at this. Mate, that's seriously old. Cool though, isn't it? I love finding old stuff like that. Anyway, so for me, Keir Starmer's looked terrified since that period. Now, the reason why, I think, and I have said this before, I think they're holding that against him. I think I don't know what it is. I mean, I can guess some stuff, but I don't know for a fact, but there's more to it. These 4 guys, who are they and why did they set fire to his stuff? I think that it's something that we will find out about once he's surplus to requirements. And I think he knows that. Because obviously you get these so-called world leaders. For me, they're all puppets. They all answer to the same force. They're basically here today, get a job done, destroy stuff basically, and then off you go. Now, if you do a good job of destroying stuff, then you get rewarded. You know, you get well, he's already got a knighthood, to be fair, but you get, you know, place in the House of Lords, and you get a book deal, and you get to ride off into the sunset and all that kind of stuff. Whereas if you do a bad job of destroying everything, then, well, you either get assassinated or your character gets assassinated through some kind of scandal, and that's how they get rid of you. Now, you get certain levels of politicians, some like Tony Blair, which I've mentioned before, they would work for Satan for free. And then you get others that come in because they're monumental narcissists and they want a little bit of power and a little bit of money and a little bit of whatever. And some of them come in because they're perfect little puppets because there's compromat on them. Now, while you're still useful, that compromat stays hidden. See the Epstein client list. If you're still of use to the cult, then those things are kept hidden. As soon as you're surplus to requirements, that's when those things start coming out. So that's why we're not seeing the Epstein client list yet, because there's people on it, including the President of the United States and the former Prime Minister of Israel, that are still, in some ways, important to them. Obviously, President Trump is massively important to them. So for now, he's safe. But only for now, folks, because the thing is about useful idiots, is when they stop being useful, they just become idiots. Now, in terms of me saying with Starmer, doing a good job. Now, doing a good job for me and you, the people, would be to, you know, make our lives better and make the country better, more money in our pocket, a more harmonious existence, not having a war, for instance, with Russia and whatever else. Whereas, to the cult and to the agents of chaos, him doing a good job is destroying everything. Now, you're probably watching this thinking, well, he is doing a good job then, because he is destroying everything. And yes, you're right. However, at the moment at least, he's doing something that the cult seriously doesn't want to happen. And that is, he's uniting people. Because yes, we might all fight about X, Y, and Z, religious beliefs, even political beliefs, and you know, whether you're pro this regime and anti that regime and all that kind of stuff, and you know, people bicker about all these kind of things. But what we all align on, whether we're left leaning, right leaning, down the centre, straight, gay, black, white, whatever, Man United, Man City, whatever you want the little divide to be, the country's basically united in the fact that they despise that guy and they despise his government. So in terms of doing a good job, yes, he's doing a good job in destroying things, but he's also uniting the people. That's the problem. And I think he knows that. And I think he knows that his time is limited and that his days are numbered. Because he's easily the most despised Prime Minister, and this is easily the most despised government. I mean, I can only speak for myself, like in my lifetime, easily in my lifetime, by a mile. And other people, a fair bit older than me, have said that, you know, probably the most despised in history. You know, I mean, I'm sure you can go back hundreds of years and you know, I mean, King John, well, he didn't have a government, but as a ruler, he wasn't very popular, of course. But in terms of, you know, Parliament, absolutely despised. And that's united the people. And that's united the people against, for one thing, digital ID, which is a massively important thing for the cult. So he's had to U-turn on it. And of course, as we've spoken about, you know, they're going to try and bring it in other ways through social media, ID to access it and all that sort of. They'll try different ways, of course they will. But in terms of a flat-out mandated, do you remember? Let me be clear. Ooh, so tough. That's gone because we united against it. So actually, I'm wondering now if he's sort of terrified look. And now I've pointed out to you, if you haven't noticed it before, ladies and gentlemen, now I've pointed out to you, you'll see it. Every time he's speaking, doesn't matter whether he's talking to, you know, Laura Knisberg, whatever she's called on BBC, or whether he's talking to, you know, just some guy at a, I don't know, a car factory or something when he's doing one of his propaganda photo shoots. Doesn't matter who he's talking to. He's like a rabbit in headlights. He's absolutely terrified. See, when Trump went into Venezuela, and he was asked questions. He started, I think I'm going into someone's house there. Yeah, it's not going to work. He started, you know, answering the question, but not really answering it because he hadn't got the script yet. He didn't know what it was. Now, someone with some charisma, they don't have to be likable, but someone with some charisma, a politician that has something about them. Yes, they're all crooks and liars, but some have, you know, a little bit more about them in terms of their personality, a bit of panache. Would have ad-libbed and, you know, come up with a politician's answer and, you know, ended on a, you know, a little quip and a, yeah, anyway, see you later. You know, like shoot McGavin or something. Not him. He can't think for himself. So he's like, I haven't got my script yet, and if I say the wrong thing, I'm done. He's a man who's terrified. Absolutely terrified. And I think, and this is just a theory, of course, but you know, it's what we do when we're out walking, looking at lime kilns and lead mines and ting, is you go, I wonder what that's all about. And I mean, look at these rays of sun coming down. Look how amazing that is. I love the countryside, folks. It's amazing. You know, I was thinking about it, and I was thinking, is that the reason why he looks so terrified? That actually, because he does, doesn't he? He looks like he's seen a ghost. That that he understands that he's failing in his mission. The country is starting to unite against him on lots of stuff, because nothing's got better since he's come in and since his government's come in. They've just lied and lied and lied and openly lied. And now, you know, so they had the whole digital ID thing, which everyone was aligned against. Didn't matter really your political persuasion or whatever, you were against it. No one wanted it. Now we're in a position where they're trying to push and escalate for war with Russia, which no one wants. So he's uniting the population against that once again. So that's another way that he's doing it. He's going alongside what Trump's done in Venezuela and what Trump's planning to do in Iran and with Russia as well, in terms of assisting the US in taking hold of that oil vessel. And he can't win on that one because people on the left, I mean, I'm generalising, but people on the left overwhelmingly would be opposed to that. So your standard Labour voter isn't going to be on his side on that. And people that like Trump and agree with all that nonsense in Venezuela and Iran and whatever, they just hate Starmer anyway. So he's not going to win any of them over with anything. So all of a sudden, again, everyone's against him for that as well. So I never thought I'd say that Keir Starmer's going to unite the United Kingdom, but he is, isn't he? In a way, he is. Not on purpose, obviously, but he is. And I think that I'm going to stick to that path because I'm going to go down like this. I'm going to go down a molehill. I don't fancy that. Rabbit holes are fine. Molehills less so. But yeah, that's just my thought. You know, I think he's a man. Of course, you know, people will say, "Well, he's prime minister. He's a man under pressure." I think it's more than that, because it's not the look of a stressed man under pressure. I know that look because I see it in the mirror a lot of the time. But dad life. But it's the look of a man who's absolutely terrified. Absolutely terrified. And given how demonic and unrelenting and unforgiving the people that rule, for now, this planet are, do you know what I mean? He's probably terrified with good reason, to be fair.
Thank you very much for watching and subscribing to my YouTube channel. If you'd like to take a look at all the other things that I do, the content like weekly shows and documentaries that I create, please check out my Linktree link in the description below.